Let's talk about it. Bring in former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State Joel Rubin, along with former Trump National Security Council Chief of Staff and former CIA analyst Fred Fleitz. Gentlemen, pleasure to have you both. Joel, I'll start with you. Just some more of Secretary Rubio's comments here. A narco regime in our hemisphere, enormous risk, not distance, but where we live. We addressed it decisively. Iran, Russia operating out of there, China getting discounted oil. He says it was a necessity, the action they took.
Yeah, Bob, look, nobody is missing Maduro, that's for sure. And I congratulate the administration for finding a way to take him out without having the country implode. But we're not living on endless time here. And what I keep on really being concerned about is the question of internationalization, the question of what to do about the opposition. Machado, for example, Maria Corina Machado is here and has been out and about and was elected, and her party was elected. What are we doing with them? What's the transition to a better day for Venezuela? Because the idea that we're going to continue to maintain this uneasy dominance of the current government, I just don't see that happening. We need a way to transition to a longer-term stable project.
Fred, how do you think a transition to stability in Venezuela takes place?
I first want to say how impressed I was with Marco Rubio. He had controlled this hearing.
He was great.
He was so well informed. I could watch him testify every day. He's clearly one of Trump's best appointments. Rubio explained that we have a pretty complicated plan here to keep U.S. troops out of Venezuela, to work with the remnants of the Maduro regime. And according to Rubio, it's working. We may resort to other measures if necessary, if things don't work out. But for now, he's pretty confident that it's working. And he also said there's a plan for the revenues from Venezuelan oil, that it's going through Qatar, so it isn't seized by creditors in the U.S. It's going to be transitioning to a different way of doing things, but it's a pretty sophisticated operation, and I was just very impressed with the way Rubio explained it.
Joe, I want to bring this up kind of on the thread of what you were talking about. It's reported Delcy Rodriguez, the interim leader for Venezuela, maybe has already had enough, she and others, of Washington, D.C. influence. She's quoted in a report saying this: "Let Venezuelan politics resolve our differences and our internal conflicts. This republic has paid a very high price for having to confront the consequences of fascism and extremism in our country." Now, I don't know if President Trump, after removing Nicolas Maduro for them, and they seem to think, or she even said, that we have paid a price for fascism and extremism in their country, that he's going to see it that way. He's going to want something for that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Look, and I would agree also, Secretary Rubio, he really does know how to explain this policy. It's not a simple one. But to this question about Delcy Rodriguez, she's not an American ally. She's a holdover from the Chavez regime, the Maduro regime. That's her politics. And so I really think that for the Trump team, there are vulnerabilities here. The longer it's seen as if Venezuela is an American protectorate, for example, the more criticism will rise around the world, as well as clearly from Venezuela. And we're going to then get sucked into questions about the military. Will we use more force? What's international legitimacy? So I really urge the administration to think that through and get it off of our books. So we're not controlling it, because the Delcy Rodriguez's of the world, they will try to exploit that and use that to get us out of their way and get back power as an autocratic system.
Fred, also something that Secretary Rubio mentioned today was that he very much, the United States, of course, very much would like to see a regime change in Cuba, and made it very clear that doesn't mean we're going to go in and do anything. How likely do you think that is based on what we're seeing in Venezuela?
I love Rubio's answer to this when he was asked, do you favor regime change in Cuba? And he said yes. He said, we're not going to implement it. But he said the obvious. It would be great for the Cuban people and for the United States if this dictatorial regime was not there. And I think that there will be real implications for this regime with what's happening in Venezuela. It's not getting its cheap oil anymore. It can't send doctors and intelligence officers and soldiers to Venezuela. It can't rent them to Venezuela to prop up its broken economy. The Cuban government is in real trouble right now, although I don't think the U.S. is going to get involved in overthrowing it, other than causing an economic pain.
Joel, 30 seconds to you, Cuba.
Look, I think the Cuban regime has to go, clearly, but the idea that we, the United States, are going to go in there physically, take it over, and do the protectorate, let's do one country at a time. And I quite frankly think we need to internationalize this and get more legitimacy for any real sustainable change in these governments.
All right, Joel, Fred, we appreciate your insight. Thank you.